far as the original Tarzan.
Yeah, it's Tarzan.
So this first spring coming into view below the boat here is called Spring of Stars. See the white sand down there and that gray stone at the bottom? Look, just past that, you'll see a ledge. That is the spring vent. And it is 26 feet to the bottom here. You can see why filmmakers like coming here because of the natural lighting, the clarity of the water, and obviously they did not have to travel too far offshore to find somewhere to make it movie. Now it has been some time since we've actually had a movie made here, so the star of our springs are fish. Get these guys to come up here to the bottom of the boat and wave at everybody. Now these little guys down here are called Brim and Bluegill. We call them Lucky Brim because it is illegal to fish along the entire Silver River. They'll never make it home to a fish fry. There's over 30 different species of native fish here in the ecosystem. Besides the Brim and Bluegill, largemouth bass, catfish, mullet. The spring we're going to view is an actual movie set. This spring down here is called Creature Spring. The cave is called Creature Cave. Anybody want to take a guess what 3 movies were made below us in the 1950s? Creature from the Black Lagoon. Return of the Creature from the Black Lagoon, which was followed up with Revenge of the Creature from the Black Lagoon. Took a lot of thought in that. But in every one of those movies, a team of divers did explore these caverns several years ago. This particular spring here, they made it to the official depth of 81 feet.
Oh, that's cool.
This is our Florida snowstorm. These are small pieces of shell and limestone, been underground for thousands of years. They get eroded away and pushed out of that spring vent by the sheer force and volume of the water. Mother Nature's version of a giant snow globe. We don't have to shake it up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow.
Look straight down. Warren County. The only problem is there in the Indian River Lagoon, it's extremely polluted. They eat the eelgrass that you'll see here on the bottom of the river, and that eelgrass doesn't regenerate fast enough down there. So they've actually lost anywhere between 8. So some of these tiny springs here, they may only produce a gallon of water total for over a 24-hour period. The largest is a first magnitude. I'm going to show you one of those here. But if you look below the boat here, you'll see what looks like a rock formation down there. But notice how that thing is in a straight line. And it's narrow at the top and wider at the bottom. But notice how it's sectioned off.
What are those rock things?
Like backbone of a dinosaur, maybe? That's what we thought. We had the state come test it for us. It's just a rock. Silver Spring Salt was a fossil for years. But you see that long piece of wood that parallels that rock formation? That is the remnants of a Native American dugout canoe. Now the University of Florida carbon dated that and estimated its age to be between 500 to 600 years old. Give or take a year or 2. Now the university returned it to its exact spot within a half an inch. It's believed to be one of the oldest Native American canoes in Florida. Now if dugout canoes is something that floats your boat down at the south entrance, you can visit the Silver River Museum. It's open to the public on Saturdays and Sundays. They actually... Oh, there is a snake under the boat. He's going to come up this side here if you want to pet him. This will be the second largest spring you'll see today by volume. And again, it's one of 27 in the entire state. This is called Blue Grotto. Now the water gets the pretty blue tint from the natural light that filters down through the water column. Now in order to be classified as a first magnitude, this spring must produce at a minimum 100 cubic feet of water per second. This one spring has been known to produce at its maximum flow 60 million gallons of water every 24 hours. All of the springs combined have been known to produce 850 million gallons of water a day. Slide in. Same species of turtle used to be able to buy at a pet store about the size of a large lemon. Now looks like an orange, or a couple orange belly sliders, some yellow belly sliders. I don't see any red bellies. Now the reason why these turtles climb up out of the water, sliders do it for two reasons. One, algae and stuff from growing on it. But all cold-blooded animals climb up out of the water to get warm. Turtles are lucky. They carry their home in their solar panel on their back. That shell acts like a solar panel. It heats up, their blood circulates through it, then it warms their body. So all these turtles over here on the right, they're recharging using Mother Nature. Does anybody know what you call a log with turtles recharging on it? This tree is over 300 years old. It was over 100 years old before it fell. It's been underwater here for over 200 years. The reason why it looks so preserved is because cypress contains an oil that makes it very decay resistant. So it makes this tree extremely valuable if the loggers can get their hands on it. This tree is quite the movie star. As I mentioned before, all 5 original Tarzans were filmed here at Silver Springs. You'll see this tree in several scenes. Another movie you'll see this area in is a 1985 movie called Legend. Young actor making his first motion picture. You may have heard of him before. Tom Cruise did his swim stunts right here. Another movie done here is a nature movie based in Florida called Hoot, about 3 teenagers here in Florida that try to save some endangered owls. The young men did their swim stunts here. The young lady that played the sister, native. Does anybody know what they were called? Starts with an S. Seminoles. Now the Seminole, this word Seminole, is actually a Native American term that means outsider or runaway. They got that name because in the 1700s, as the population was increasing down the East Coast, it forced the Native. Follow that rock wall down below the boat here. You'll see a ledge and then the opening below it. This is Mammoth Spring. Now this spring opening parallels the river bottom 65 feet in length. The highest part of that opening down there is actually 5 feet tall. It doesn't look like much is happening down there, but out of that 850 million gallons of water a day that all these springs can produce, 550 million of those gallons can come out of the ground below you every 24 hours. So another way of looking at it, over 2/3 of all the water that we've been on come out of this spring below us. It's 30 feet down to the bottom in front of the spring entrance. Down inside the spring, that cavern goes down to 55 feet. So you see how deep this basin is. You see how big around it is. This entire basin will refill with brand new fresh water about every 38 minutes. So from the time we left the dock to get back here, all brand new water. That's the equivalent to you. Follow that rock wall down below the boat here. You'll see a ledge and then the opening below it. This is Mammoth Spring. Now this spring opening parallels the river bottom 65 feet in length. The highest part of that opening down there is actually 5 feet tall. It doesn't look like much is happening down there, but out of that 850 million gallons of water a day that all these springs can produce, 550 million of those gallons can come out of the ground below you every 24 hours. So another way of looking at it, over 2/3 of all the water that we've been on come out of this spring below us. It's 30 feet down to the bottom in front of the spring entrance. Down inside the spring, that cavern goes down to 55 feet. So you see how deep this basin is. You see how big around it is. This entire basin will refill with brand new fresh water about every 38 minutes. So from the time we left the dock to get back here, all brand new water. That's the equivalent for stuff. Well, I can guarantee you they were not in the Greek Isles. I can prove that. Because the statues are below the boat. Those are the actual props they used in the TV show. They stand 7 feet tall. They're made out of an ancient construction material called fiberglass. If you wish to get a selfie with one, you'd only have to swim down there 28 feet, then the park ranger's going to have a little chat with you. Closed to swimming, snorkeling, or scuba diving. Now, the last James Bond movie I talked about, 1979, called Moonraker. In that movie, James Bond, the character, gets attacked by a giant 18-foot anaconda snake that slithers out of the bushes and tries to drown him. Well, guess where that bush is at? It's right here at the dock. They did the one underwater scene here with a real stunt snake. Now, I can prove that was done here. If you go on YouTube and YouTube that movie trailer, when you see those scenes with the character getting pulled underwater,
It's true.